Hey everybody, it's Dan. It's a gorgeous afternoon here in sunny Minnesota. How often do you get to say that? And I thought I'd give you a quick telescope tour. So let's step outside on a gorgeous sunny Saturday afternoon and let's take a look at some things here. So I've got all three lined up outside. Now, what I don't know is if this evening we're going to have kind of clear skies or if we're going to have more cloudy skies. We'll have to wait and see. But if I can't get you views tonight, then I'll find some views I've taken previously from each of these three telescopes and tack it on to the end of this video so you can get an idea of what each of these things can do. So let's start over here. This is my Orion Space Probe 130 ST. It's a 5.5-inch Newtonian telescope. That 5.5 inches refers to the aperture size there. It is on what's called an equatorial mount, this guy down here, which just means the angle that it's set at and these slow motion controls allows the telescope to follow the arc in the sky that stars and planets and the moon and everything travels. Very convenient, but a bit of a pain in the butt to set up. Now, those are great, like I said, for planets and for moon. But if you want to look deeper into space, you want to see nebulas, you want to see galaxy, that's when we come over to the Seestar S50 right here. This is a smart telescope, which means it connects to my iPad, and I can control it from there. Again, small looking little unit, but man, does a really, really great job of picking up nebulas and galaxies and deep sky objects. So if I want to image like a lot of the Messier objects, that's what I use the Seestar S50 for. This guy behind me that you may be looking at, that is my latest purchase. This is an 8.5-inch Dobsonian telescope. So similar to the Newtonian in that you have the eyepiece on the side here, but like I said, 8.5 or 8 inches, that means much bigger diameter of an aperture, which means you're going to let in that much more light. So this one also great for seeing the planets, for seeing the moon, but you get a lot better resolution on this guy than you do on the 5.5-inch Newtonian. This one also a little easier to get around with the wheels and everything else involved. Really great telescope. It's a bit more difficult. You got to kind of do some crouching to get around to see and line up your scope and then just to get the views. Whereas this guy, when you have the tripod there, you see, it's a little bit easier to get that at an angle where you can be standing comfortably and seeing it. So all three telescopes have their pluses, and all three telescopes have some drawbacks to them as well, which is why you own various telescopes, because you want to be able to see different things in different ways depending on the conditions and depending on where you're at. I'm lucky to have this balcony from which I can see from basically the southwest to the north, and so you can see a big swath of sky, and depending on what I'm looking for and how I'm looking for it, I can use all three of these different telescopes. So hope you enjoyed the tour. We're going to try and get you some views tonight. Like I said, if not, I'll grab some photos from previous sessions. Have a great rest of your weekend. And as I suspected, these guys did not cooperate later in the evening, and so I went back and pulled some older pictures. This is a picture of the moon taken with the Orion Space Probe 130 ST. That's the 5.5-inch Newtonian telescope. And as you can see, you can get a really good look at the moon with that telescope. Nice image, some pretty good detail there. Now this next image is from the Seestar S50. That's the smart telescope. That's the one controlled with the iPad. Again, looks really cool, good look at the moon, but it's not the same as looking down the barrel of the eyepiece yourself. That brings us to the Dobsonian, the 8-inch telescope that I showed you. Now, I didn't frame this shot terribly well, but you can see all that extra light gets you all that extra detail of the geography of the moon. Really, really cool way to look at the moon. And again, that telescope, when you can get it on wheels, pretty darn easy to move around. So you get an idea of what all three telescopes can do. They're all great. They're all useful. Just depends on what you want to look at and what your price range is. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll talk to you on the next video.